Sean Crampton is an award-winning actor, writer, and improviser born and raised in California. He stars as Woodman, a veteran battling PTSD in the psychological action film The Stalking Fields, acquired by Gravitas in 2024, and appears in Steve Pink's The Wheel on Hulu, which premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. He recently produced and co-starred in Good Bad Things, Hulu 2025, I America, Dances with Films 2025, and Helmet, Dances with Films 2023, while also earning Best Lead Actor honors for his performance in Richard Peter Johnson, a mockumentary feature he co-wrote and produced. The film went on to win 11 festival awards, including Best Picture and Best Actor at the Playhouse West Film Festival. Sean has appeared in films for Amazon, Netflix, and alongside directors like Jesse V. Johnson, James Franco, and Dempson Heck. He trained under Jeff Goldblum, Robert Carnegie, and Sandy Marshall, and is a veteran of the Los Angeles improv scene with over 1,000 live shows at UCB, Second City, IO West, and with his long-running team, Gibbons Tale. In addition to acting, Sean helps emerging filmmakers through his online community, Rebel Filmmaking. He is an avid surfer, reader, and a lifelong student of film. If you're watching the visual version of this podcast, you might see that Cat and Sean disappear a few times, but we'll try to fix as much of those in the edits as we can. But we hope you enjoy this super inspiring talk with Sean Crampton, because he's a serious gatecrasher.
Toot toot!
I'm Kat Udane of Foxhole Films.
And I'm Makayla McIntosh of Siren of the Pacific Productions.
We're your hosts of the GateCrashers podcast.
Coming to you now. The GateCrashers theme is by Derek Graham Sound.
Let it play out.
I know Riverside well.
I know. I'm like, you've probably been on here many a time.
Yeah, it's what I used for mine.
Yeah. When's the last time you had your podcast or did an episode?
It's been maybe 2 years. Yeah, I did 20 episodes and just got busy.
Yeah.
I wanted to try it out. And it was funny. Someone reached out from New York once and was like, random person was like, when are you going to go? When are you going to go again? I was learning so much. I was like, oh, I didn't even know anybody was watching these. Sorry. Yeah.
I love podcasts. Or I was telling Kat, it's always funny when I meet someone and I'm like, I know everything about them because I've been listening to their podcast. And they're like, I don't, never seen you.
Yeah, for sure. That's sort of like the celebrity probably relationship where you're like, oh my God, it's that person I've seen for 2 decades. But they're like, who are you?
Yeah. You've taught me everything I know. I don't know how because I've never talked to you. But you have actually taught me a lot of what I know because I feel very lucky to have gotten to know you through Dracis and being
Cool.
a part of that. And you're just so inspiring and such a wealth of knowledge. I don't even know where I want to start. So I just love if you kind of intro yourself, like what ultimately brought you to LA, why you've stayed in LA all these years with the shifts you've taken in your career. And
No, great place to start. I'm from San Diego originally. I moved to LA in 2008. I had just graduated college, UC Santa Barbara. The plan was always LA, but I had a scholarship to college, so I thought, why not? You know, I didn't really see a ton of actors who were child actors turn out well, so I wasn't like in a super rush to get there. And I thought, you know, I could act my whole life till I'm 90, but I could only play like collegiate sports until, you know, whatever. So went there, but I didn't know anything, you know. I didn't know anyone. I have a step cousin out here who like brought over beer when I moved in. But other than that, I was like, we knew no one. This was like really pre-internet in the way it is now. So, like, we were ripping stuff off LimeWire. Like, you know, it was...
I remember
we were
those days.
using maps. And I ended up moving here with someone at rugby team. I played rugby in college, a rugby teammate. So we both knew nothing together, which added to 0. But at least I had him. He's still a great friend, and he's truly one of the best dudes. Harris. And I bring him up because we're in this class that really, I think, set the tone for everything. We were very fortunate. We went to this place in North Hollywood called Playhouse West, which, you know, is not a perfect place, but it's $200 a month still. You get to act your ass off. And it's theater based, so it has limitations with like the business and like, you know, small, medium, large. If you're playing television versus film, So, but what it did is it really like informed us on work ethic. So we had this teacher, Holly Gagne, still teaches and works. She had been working, I think, professionally as an actress since she was 16, and she'll hate me for saying this, but probably in her 50s. I mean, she looks like she's fucking 30 or 40, but
that saves it. Yeah.
It's the truth. I saw her recently. She helped me coach, and I was like, "You look the same." She's like, "You're sweet." I remember she's fucking phenomenal teacher and actor, but she turned around one day and she did this exercise. I'll never forget. I was just telling somebody this the other day. But she's like, "How many of you played high school sports? Raise your hand." Let's say 3/4 of the class did, right? She'd call on a few and go, "How many hours and days a week did you practice?" And I'd be like, "Well, 5 days a week, practice the 6th day a game, probably 30, right?" And then she's like, "Okay, keep your hands up if you played in college." And 3 of us kept our hands up out of the whole class, 30 people. And she asked the same set of questions, right? And then she goes, "All right, keep your hand up if you wanted to go pro." And no one raised their hand. So she asked how many people played in college. 3 of us left our hands up. She asked the same set of questions, which was, how many days a week and how many hours a day. We answered, and the next question was, keep your hands up if you plan to go pro. And no one kept their hands up. And she just said, "And you expect to go pro only putting in 6 hours a week here?" Because that was the mandatory show up time for acting class at that school, was 6 hours a week. And she basically was calling us to task and was like, "You put in 30 fucking hours a week for some rinky-dink high school shit, and you expect to come here with the big boys and girls and go pro?" So I never forgot that, because I didn't know if I had any skills. I knew I had no skills, but I don't know if I had talent, but I was like, all right, I can outwork people for sure.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. And for the next 4 or 5 years, I just became sort of obsessed. Like, I took every class. At that school, you could audit every level you were at and below. So that means if I was an advanced student out of the 3 levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced, I could audit every class for free because everything's below advanced, right? But even when I was in beginning, I would still go and negotiate with the advanced teachers. Like, I'll just sit and watch. So I was doing sometimes 12 hours a day, and then we got in a sketch team, and then I made 70 to 80 video, sketches, short films, essentially. And then we did a feature film when I was 24 that I was the lead of, the EP of, the co-writer, the story by. It was a story I came up with in college called Richard Peter Johnson, which was about the most famous male porn star in the world, retiring at the height of his career to pursue his real love, acting, but he's a doofus, so he keeps bringing his porn foibles. And we filmed it reality style, like Spinal Tap.
Amazing.
So we could do it cheaply. I mean, we were all improvisers, really improvising a lot at that time, because I've probably done 1,000, 2,000 live shows. It's got to be closer to 2,000, but it feels weird to say that. But I did it for 9 years, really relentlessly with this one team and some other teams. But so we were, I feel like, very, very sharp for that practice at the moment. And the guy who directed it's one of the best actors I know, Devin, still to this day. So yeah, that really set the tone for everything in terms of that sketch team called Gibbon's Tale. I learned how to edit there. I learned how to direct, produce. I ran sound. I held the fucking floppy. I did it all. And thank God, because we did it for 3 years. Imagine 3 years we met every Wednesday for free. No, we paid $20 or $40 a month to a little pot that we'd buy equipment with, like a sound recorder, a boom.
Wow.
And what it did is, I realized in retrospect, is it gave us low risk, but not low risk at bats. Because really, those were writing rooms. Those were business. We had huge fucking blowouts over nothing. Right. But then you'd learn, you'd be, I remember my dad once telling me, "Is there money involved yet?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Then shut up. Then move on. It's going to be fine. Don't lose your friendship if the money's actually not in an account somewhere or on the table."
Yeah.
And so I got to learn a lot of those lessons, and fucked up a bunch. There's stuff we made that's so unwatchable, right? But
But you learned from
you
it.
know, and
Be
there's
fun
some
from the archive.
Oh, yeah. We totally learned. We learned what our taste was. We learned, I mean, there's acting performances in there I have of myself. I'm like, woof. But then I'm like, I know enough not to just be critical. It's like, oh, yeah, dude, like you weren't prepared because you were running production and you're not a producer at that point in your career. It's hard to split. I'll speak for myself, you know. One of the best lessons, I got the privilege of working next to James Franco when he was Academy Award nominated. So this is like 2010 to 12 before, you know, whatever went down that I don't know anything about. But he was incredible to work next to because he was so fucking good, truly. And I mean, talk about work ethic. The dude was like red eye flying from a Broadway play performance to teach our class at UCLA to come back every week and was more prepared than the students. And I just remember him being really I don't want to say bad, but not his best performer in this Hulu show. I was like, what's happening? And you realize like anybody can fall susceptible to this multi-hyphenate unpreparedness syndrome because you assume you're directing or writing that the acting should just be there, but you almost have to prepare the acting more and separately. Yeah, and so I got to learn those lessons like for free essentially without like it being on a global stage, right? And I remember him telling us that too. He's like I learned the lesson. He might not have cited at that project or anything, but it was around that time and I remember like, damn, this guy who's literally nominated for an Academy Award it's not just innate. You can't just show up and, you know, for everything.
I learned that the hard way too.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah.
I was glad I learned it.
Yeah. And I could tell you, but you have to go experience a lot of these things, right? So in order to know it in your bones and sort of know how to articulate it to the next person or to yourself down.
Yeah, that's,
And it's, you go, Kat.
I was just going to say that I feel like even the projects that are like, you look back on them and you cringe a little bit, they're super valuable because you've learned so much from them and that just makes them invaluable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't just, I don't think, just show up and start nailing it.
Yeah.
You gotta actually like expose yourself. And that's part of the process too. And that's another thing I really admire James for. He taught me something I'll never forget. And it's one of my favorite things in actors is commitment to a moment. And I'll never forget because he was as famous as you can imagine, right? Like that was that era. And we're sitting in class and an actress is on stage and she's not committing to this moment, which is like a terrifying, agonizing, like real Clifford. We were doing Clifford Odette, so it's like real theater. And she wasn't going for it. And he's like, and he gets up and he's like, the moment's more like, and he does it out of context. And it looks so fucking bad and bold and cringy in a sense it could look, right? Because it's like it's basically a overacting line reading. But he did the moment, right? And he wasn't afraid to look like awful.
Yeah.
And I just really fucking love that because that is what that moment required. And being a committed artist carries a lot, like it takes a lot of stuff with it. So if you show up committed, a lot of the work will just show up behind that.
Yeah.
Because you'll just start doing what a super committed person does. And that I fucking love committing to a moment because that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
That's where you make people react for real. Is like if you're really doing something cringy. That's good.
I used to have a voice teacher. Her name is Krista Scott. But before you would get up, she would say, "Don't cheat me. Like, don't hold back on her."
That.
And that sticks with me because I think of it like, are you cheating yourself? Are you cheating the audience? Like, who are you cheating right now if you hold it back? I love it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get, I'll speak for myself. You can get trapped in how you look rather than what's right for the story. I don't have that and haven't had that for years, but that if it came up, that's what it was. It was like, am I still like, do I look okay? Right. And it's like, no, the moment is you're not supposed to look okay.
Yeah.
You know, actually, a great acting teacher, same sort of tribe, taught me, sometimes a moment's just awkward, actually. Yeah. Because, as an actor, you're trying to make sense of everything and you want it to feel good. Well, actually, some moments aren't supposed to feel good,
Yes.
And because that's life. And so we're tangenting here, but that sort of started this engine. And then, a few years later, I did, because I was totally burnt out after I did Richard Peter Johnson when I was 24. I mean, we did one of the first
That's
Kickstarters.
so young. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel it because I was just like I got in trouble with I'm sort of just a doer, you know, like I don't like to just talk and talk endlessly. I mean, I'll talk until something's ready, but to talk beyond it feels like safety, you know, and like I've done it a million times, so no judges, but I'm just like, for me, I'm done with it. And so we had been talking in our sketch team that I mentioned for months and months, and I just fucking signed us up for Kickstarter and announced it at a meeting, and they were pissed. But
No way. That's
I love it.
amazing.
I love that.
because everybody got a role. Someone did get cut, and that was, but you know, got to learn there too, because that's real as fuck as a producer, and you got to get those
Yeah.
at bats. She took it great like a pro, but it was, so that's how that started. Yeah. So we shot it on 10 grand and favors and wishes. I mean, we got James Franco in it, you know, we shot at the Greek Theater.
Crazy.
It was crazy. Wow. I'm like very proud of it for just a bunch
Yeah.
of kids trying to, you know, make something make sense, because it's hard to make a movie
Yeah.
make sense, let alone keep it
Yeah.
entertaining. It's
And
like,
finish
there's
it
a
and
lot-
fundraise.
Yeah, it's hard to make a movie.
Yeah. So
And then to make it make sense
Yeah,
is just like
yeah.
everything else is like a wonderful
It's a
addition.
miracle.
Yeah.
And then to get James
Yeah.
Franco in it too.
yeah, I remember we asked him, you know, is it me and the director, Devin? I'll never forget. It was at that class. Yeah, it was such a strange class. It was like Clifford Odets on camera class. At the time, he was like very in his work, you know, like sort of like Nick Cage. If you listen to Nick Cage's interviews, they're incredibly insightful to the history of acting. James is the same way. And so he was trying a different flavor, and we were just like, a class with James, you had to be selected. I think it was free. Like it was the most,
That's
it was the
cool.
best students at our school. Yeah, it was really cool. And me and Devin were there, and we're like, and we wrote the movie with the movie's filmed. We're baked in, but we've written it so like if he says no, it still works.
Gotcha.
It's sort of like this post-credit scene. But I'll never forget, we went and Devin asked him, and I'm standing there and I'm watching it. And James, you know how usually when people think, they're like, you know, James just stared at Devin like, and then he goes, yeah, I'll do it. And we're like,
Yes.
all right. So it took about 2 weeks, but he showed, because class was once a week, so not the next week, but the week he showed up 15 minutes early. Like we made him all the promises, right? We were like, dude, you don't have to remember anything. Just show up, dress with the leather jacket. If you got like this leather jacket you're wearing, because he was like sponsored by Gucci at the time. So he had this blue, beautiful leather. I mean, it was a truly
Amazing.
work of art. And
Thanks, Gucci.
yeah, truly. Man, he showed up on time in his little Prius. I will never forget that, his red Prius. And he stepped out, and Devin was nervous, you know. No shade to Devin. He's an incredibly gifted artist, but he was nervous, so he was over talking the actor, right? And he knew it, but he couldn't stop, because you're like, literally, I think the guy's nominated at the time. It was like surreal as fuck, right? And we're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
very aware of where we're at. But Devin had been working. He had just done like a Gerard Butler movie, like, you know, so we had a little bit of confidence. But I just remember James listening and going like, okay, so I want this because of this. And Devin was like, yes. And he's like, great. So it was great to see him just listen and then simplify it to the smallest, most distilled action, and then do it. Yeah. So that was just really cool to see. And then he nailed it every time. We took 3 takes, multicam, but like he didn't miss a beat, and he just read the scene for the first time there. And it was a crazy scene. It was like a vampire blade, and like he was a detective at the scene, and he's like a vampire hunter. And he just fucking nailed it, dude. So that was really inspirational all around.
I love that. And honestly, such a testament to like, you don't know if you don't ask. Like, you really just don't. If you have a crazy ask, like, you just never know what someone's going to say to that.
No, and like be prepared. You know, like if we would have been sort of dumb fucks, it could have been really bad, right? If he showed up and we were like, okay, it's going to take 6 hours, or we don't know, you know, he would have been like, never again, and probably ruined for everybody else after. But I sort of had a good feeling, because he was so artist forward. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I can't say anything about what he's in the news for or any of that, but my experience of him was like incredible in terms of artistry, and yeah, I learned a ton. So that too, he was also at our school sort of legendized, like literally they'd be like, James doesn't sleep. So like I was competitive and I was like, well, I mean, this guy's already fuck that. I'm going to work harder than he even worked,
Yeah.
And so he was this really nice train to chase. But once I left the school, I was burnt out, and it took me about 5 years to make the Stocking Fields, which was in 2019. And similar to Richard Peter Johnson, co-wrote, produced it, starred in it. We raised a lot more money this time and ended up selling it to Gravitas. I actually got some money for it. It was like crazy.
Wow.
We were like, whoa, like you guys are paying us like a solid amount. Like,
Yeah.
cause I had other movies that were getting like literally $1,000 offers. And you're like, what do you think we made the movie for? Honestly, And I remember one company out of Arizona, I couldn't believe he said it, but he's like, well, maybe you should make your movies cheaper. And I was like, my brother, I didn't make a $5 million movie. And you're talking about $1,000, And so it was just a little eye-opening in that sense.
And then you're balancing this like paying people fairly, but also being scrappy and indie, but also making money back, but also something being good and watchable. It's also similar to me when people are like, well, why don't you just like put your movie on YouTube? It's like, well, do you know what the payouts are for AdSense and such on YouTube if you even qualify?
Yeah. Especially starting out, Usually YouTube is like the 7th year waterfall of a distribution company. Like they run it as an ad. So when people forget to skip, it makes like sense. Literally. So you don't want to start there if you can help it. So people don't know what they're talking about. So that's why you really got to do you at the end of the day. But yeah, Kat, I was just updating after Richard Peter Johnson. I was burnt out and I didn't do another movie for 5 years. It's like, I call it like no one else calls it this, but I call it tip of the spear. Like if I stopped, it stopped. So I was that on a lot of projects, and that Richard Peter Johnson just burnt me straight out.
Yeah.
And
are you willing to kind of tell us what those 5 years looked like? Like, what did you do to recharge? What were you doing in that time?
I was auditioning commercially. I was taking other acting classes. I was making other sketches, just more short form content, sort of living life too. Never was out or quit. A lot of writing. That's when I like started to really investigate if I could write a feature by myself for the first time, because I kept failing and failing at that for years. Not that I was like trying every day, but like, let's say 2009, I tried, failed, didn't pick it up till 2013, failed, didn't pick it up till 2015. And then I think in 2015, I started writing what I called The Hunt at the time, but it became The Stocking Fields. And I got it about halfway and it died, right? And about 2 years later, I was taking a meeting randomly and ended up being an investor, and she ended up being interested in The Hunt. She's like, what do you got? And I was like, because you're trying to it's sort of like you got to fake it till you make it in some capacity, because it's not a lie in so much as you don't know. It's like no one can explain, at least to me, no one could have explained rejection or any of these things that I've experienced as well as experiencing them. So she basically was like, can I read it? I was like, it's actually in the middle of a rewrite. Can I get a week? And she's like, for sure. So similar to the pressure of an actual audition versus class, because I got the great fortune of also taking Jeff Goldblum as a teacher for 6 months. And that was the absolute best education of my life. Best teacher of my life. Any capacity, like what a mensch, And that was one of the things he really dispelled right away. He just came in and started popping balloons. He's like, oh yeah, they tell you in acting class you're supposed to care about your scenes like an audition. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like I was like, okay, Goldblum, get, So where was I? Oh yeah. So in the same way where, all of a sudden there's money on the line, I finished my first feature. Right? Because I just was like,
motivation.
Right? Yeah, I had to. And it was scrappy and is what it is, right? And she liked it. And so all of a sudden it gets to like this moment where there's 50 grand involved. And then my buddy, Jordan, who was my producing partner for a long time, he's just gotten into professional racing. Otherwise, we would still be working together on things. But he came in too, because he could be one of the like villains and it just like fit. And he's like a cowboy in the sense of like, let's fucking go. And I want to put my own money into it because he is a Hollywood TV actor and he had been tired of being told what the fuck to do for so many years. So we end up moving forward. This takes a while, right? We don't start shooting it till 2019. This is 2017, 2018. And then the first investor falls out. And so Jordan has this make or break moment. He's like, fuck it, I'll match it.
All
and
in.
So he goes all in. And I remember sitting in his driveway going like, dude, are you sure? I always try and do this with investors. And like, some people would probably cringe, but I'm always like, are you sure? Because this is a lot of money, maybe. And so, because I've seen it. I've seen the energy pre and post investment enough times to just, I have to cover myself to be like, we talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Because it's happened where people are like, I got to get it back. And you're like, okay, but we talked about this. Remember, like, there's going to be a few quitting points on these journeys, which I think every film or show has, like a few times. It's just going to bring you to your fucking knees.
Yeah.
And you got to choose to either keep going or not. So Jordan chose to kept going. And about all of 2018, I prepped the movie. I don't want to say completely by myself because that'd be crazy, but like a lot by myself. And then we got a few other producers on who crushed it. This guy, Rudy Womack, did a great job. Edited. Brooke, Tori, these two ladies were absolute beasts. Crushed it. It was really hard shoot. We shot it in January 2019. And it was at elevation in Lake Tahoe. I mean, there was this crazy shit. Like we had this junkyard scene where we had to split in perspective. So we're shot this way one day and we're going to shoot the other day. And it blizzarded.
No.
Yeah. So G&E had to go out there on their fucking day off. And it's like Michael Epstein, Sofia Coppola. I mean, God bless these people. Agent. They blow dried and chipped the cars just out of frame. So in frame, perfectly clean, but outside of frame, blanket white.
Amazing.
And,
Amazing.
Yeah. So we had to do shit like that. I mean, there's a fight scene at the end where it's 40 degrees. It's hailing. I'm watching Video Village sink. The DP and the director have fought. So the DP's walked. Jordan, my partner's in New York running his business for 3 days. We were running a fashion line at the time, and he was like definitely
adding it on.
Yeah. Jordan's an incredible talent, like truly like Steve McQueen level. He puts his hands on something, it's the best. And like truly, he's racing right now at the highest level in the world. It's fucking insane. And and he just started 2 years ago and he's 36. So it's like, what?
So like racing cars?
Yeah, cars. Yeah. Like the level below NASCAR, it's called IMSA.
I know. I'm like, is he going to be an F1 in here in a couple weeks?
No, I don't know about F1, but in terms of American cars, it's incredible. So anyway, he's that type of guy. So my point is like, we're split. And I just remember looking around and like Video Village is fucking sinking. I'm watching hundreds of thousands of, I'm not kidding. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
This guy's property is 150 acres with no electricity. He built everything. He'd been there 30 years. He walked around barefoot. His feet were bleeding. Normal dude, but you look down, he had blue feet barefoot, right? And you're just like, hey,
oh my God.
You good? And he'd be smoking his Pall Malls. Oh my God. Anyway, it was such a fucking circus, right? But, you remember things like that. And like my first AD, who's now a beast of a producer, owns his own company, Josh Jason. Dude, I learned so much from this guy. Kid, really. Like, I'd say he's probably 6 years younger than me. But at the time, he was like 23, 24, and he was just like calm under pressure. Like we were shirtless in the fight, 40 degrees. So he took his shirt off or his sweater off. So he's like, just a fucking yeah.
Love that.
And he's really good at what he does, right? He's like good to be around. And that guy can solve problems like that. So
Invaluable.
yeah. So that was that project. Yeah. And we had to reshoot because COVID came out. So it kind of extended and extended and extended. So we did some reshoots mid 2020 at least. God, it kind of released recently. It kind of released in a few weird ways, but it got bought by Gravitas. Did it come out in 22 or 23? But it's somewhere out there.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then from that, I got a lot busier. I did a movie called The Wheel in 2021 where I was a producer. I brought it together in some capacities. Like I introduced the writer to Josh, who I just mentioned, who is the EP of this with his newly formed company, with my friend Molly, who who's one of the best
love
ever.
Molly. Yes.
So I introduced those two, and now they have their own company. And this was the first foray, and they got Steve Pink because Josh is just a great, like he knows people, and because he's competent, they love him. So we got this, I'd say, A-level director to do an indie project with an incredible camera team, completely understaffed. I mean, truly, like, they had to set me down a day because I was starting to stumble from exhaustion. I mean, I was falling asleep with my boots on. I was running transpo, producing, like, locations. It was so much because it was partly COVID and partly the budget. And the budget wasn't nothing, but it was like, we had all of a sudden we were the second production up from COVID. So SAG was literally trying to use Molly's shit because she's so dialed in. She already had like a COVID plan. And so she was like, you could buy it. I remember we pulled into Keslow to get camera, and usually the camera houses are packed and like beep, 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 trucks moving.
Yeah.
Only one in there.
So surreal.
Yeah.
So surreal.
And we did it smart. We did it at a kid's camp. So if you think about it, all of them were closed. So you had this unprecedented access, and they were hurting for money. So they had the kitchens built in. I did location scouts for them in NorCal, and I did an awful job. Oh my God, they ripped me so good. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was by myself in the sense of like, I'll say this. I didn't do the level of job Steve was accustomed to, having worked on huge, he wrote like all the John Cusack movies in the 80s. He did Santa Clarita Diet, Hot Tub Time Machine 1 and 2. And it was awesome working for him because he was like still, and I hadn't really experienced this yet in indie. He was able to walk up and say, not good enough, right? Usually in indie, you're like, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And, no, he'd come up and be like, we can do better, right? And
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it could be like pressing in the moment where you're like, dude, I just worked 6 hours on this. But you always walked away respecting the fuck out of it. And it did matter. Dude, he nothing but good things to say about him. It learned so much just watching him work, the way he was with actors.
Wow.
He's smooth operator, brought his own furniture. Like, he showed the fuck out. Well, we needed it, dude. And he had like really expensive furniture. Oh my God. One of them got broke, and we were like, how much? 28 grand or some shit. Yeah. This wasn't
what's
a joke.
my deductible?
Yeah. It wasn't a joke. It was like, oh my God. And he still rolled with it. Yeah. But, yeah, so that was a great train. The camera team was insanely good. Like Bella Gonzalez, she just did Alien, the TV show with Andrew LeBoy. Andrew LeBoy is the DP of like all of Eric Andre and The Last Jackass, I believe. If he's not the DP, he's the camera operator. And just even seeing them work, like I saw a take, this is the first time I'd seen it, and the actors were so good. Amber Midthunder and Taylor Gray, particularly because they're the leads. But everyone else was great. But I just remember Amber was doing this. She's like flawless. Every take's so good. Steve called cut, but Andrew's closer, right? He could see what she's doing. And they had worked together before I had found out. And he didn't listen to the cut. And he wraps around into this close up. And he just sits there. And Steve knows. He sees what's happening. He lets it play out. And then he lets Andrew call it because he knows it's Andrew. And it was just such a nice, like, bing, 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 bing. And they, I think they use that. So
the trust, the like, you see something I don't yet.
No ego. And Yeah, it was hardcore. We took that film to TIFF. I guess we filmed that in 2020, actually. Yeah. And we took it to TIFF in 2021, which is a beautiful experience. Yeah. I mean, there's more I could tell about that fucking movie, but yeah, I mean, it was called The Wheel.
You, like,
yeah.
You've worn so many hats. Like, you've producer,
Yeah.
director, writer, actor. Do you have a favorite, or has it evolved as you've created more? Like, what drives you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I have actually gotten some clarity on recently. My favorite things to do are act and write. Like, I get a great joy from breaking a story open. Like, I'll fucking scream in my office or cry or whatever, or being great in a close-up or committing to a moment I haven't before. I'm like, wow, like I just experienced something like pretty novel, and I love those. And the reason I was able to articulate that is I was lucky enough to sell a feature this year to like a big production finance company, and there was two directors interested. Yeah, and there's two directors interested, and both of their bona fides. I'm like, this guy has done over 300 million at the box office. This guy has directed $250 million movies. And this is just my humble material.
Yeah.
And this is already.
Well, congratulations. That's so exciting.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's
So
great. It's
exciting.
great. I feel very fortunate, and I feel like in a great capacity. You know, I wrote that script in a week, and like 80% of it's what sold.
Yes.
So I just feel very like firing. Yeah, I've written like 5 features this year, so I'm just cruising. And so what that did was it allowed me, because I had told my producer who hired me for the write, I said, you know, when I first did it, I said I'd throw my hat in the ring to direct, but if someone comes along who can make this go, I'm happy to sit on the shoulders of them and watch without the pressure to fucking deliver, you know? And he's like, dude, that's the smartest thing you could say. And then I saw the directors actually get interested, and I was like, oh shit. I don't want it. Like, I don't want to chase directing like that. Like, I just realized I'm like, oh, like, I like it. I think I'm capable, and I have a good organization, and I can talk to actors. So great. But chasing it, you know, if it comes to me, hey, I'm open to talk anything. But I realized, because I had also signed with a talent manager in the last 2 months, and so I was starting to see how I had subconsciously put acting on the back burner because I hadn't had new headshots in 6 years. I was still using, they like worked, but I'm like, for me, I've let off the gas, and it allowed me just to be like, you know, like, honestly, if that's the competition, I'm good. Like, I already got fierce competition in writing and acting trusts, right?
Yeah.
So I don't need to be going, like, that's why and Alex, my producer, said, like, because I came back with the epiphany and just was like, dude, take my name out of the hat, you know?
Yeah.
You know, unless it's like somehow, but then it's like meant to be, right? But I told him everything I told you, and he reaffirmed. He said again, he's like, honestly, that's the smartest thing you could do. And ironically, he's going to get you directing jobs later. But because I look at it like, why not go be a writer? I get to go show up and just like, or not show up. You know, sometimes I'm like, do I like being on set all day, every day? No, like, I don't. I love being home. I love being with my dogs.
Yeah. Curled up with your computer.
Yeah, I love, I'm in a big like art phase right now where I'm drawing a lot. So, yeah, so that's acting, writing, and the other, you know, I do produce. I think that sort of goes hand in. I never raise my hand for that because it's so much work. And
It's so much work.
I'm I think really capable, and I'm known to finish. And so I got to be careful doing that for others, because I've learned, like, The Wheel was a great example for that, because I loved everybody. The writer is a great friend of mine. Josh, I love Molly, everybody. And yet still I wanted to quit several times, which is unusual because the work was so hard. I remember driving the grip truck and being like, I could just keep going. I'm not kidding. I never think like
could
that.
go far from here.
Yeah.
Delete the DIT footage.
Yeah. No,
Do you
but I'll just keep trying.
think that part of why you have produced and directed so much in the past is from that desire of yours to be a doer and to make it happen? And you're
That's
the
right.
one that'll make it happen, so I'm
That's right.
producing it. Yeah.
That's right. And then I got it in my head like too much that this is the way, where I was like, it's so much the way that I need to put acting down to direct for a while so that acting comes back. And
Yeah.
I was just like, no. And another function of it is like I run sets like I want, like I respect the fuck out of people's time. If you're coming to my set, you're working and you're out. And so it's like, to the best of my ability, sometimes you have to be there 12 hours. It is what it is. But if not, I got you in and out, and I have a rhythm with how I direct. I usually like to do 3 takes. I'm usually letting the first take be for the technicians. The second take, you probably got it. The third one, we're gonna go again for fun.
Funsies.
And if we hit 11 takes, so be it. But rarely do we, because I'm usually informing the actors in rehearsals and stuff like you might, if I say series, we're just going to have you do this one moment like 3 or 4 times right there, and I'll just edit, use the form for us.
That's probably where your history and experience as an actor comes into handy is on set.
Yeah.
You're like, we're going to rehearse this, so then it's in and out.
Yeah, absolutely. Learning all the time, but I'm actually getting prepped to start directing, and it's so funny. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. But, this company wants me to direct and produce Vertical series next January.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been really, it's been so many things, because for months, maybe a year, I'd been hearing how bad they were. My sound mixer, he's worked over like 100 of them. And he's an incredible, he's just working all the time. It's like, I never know him to not be working. It's so crazy. And he's like, dude, they're so bad. My buddies
hears
were
every word.
auditioning. Yeah,
But people watch them. They're soaps. They're modern soap operas.
Exactly. So this company is a Hallmark beast. So the guy who owns it, they do 20 movies a year. He's directed personally 35.
Amazing.
So 35 films, like that's a lot, And they hired me maybe 2 months ago. I've written 2 series for them so far. So that's 60 90-second episodes. Roughly, it's a feature length, and they've cited me as one of their stronger writers. So they're seeing if I can direct and produce, and they brought it up a number of times. So it feels real, and the writing, like I've been paid, so it's legit. And my producer's awesome, and the whole goal is to make good ones.
Yeah.
So the notes,
and they can be good.
Yeah, and his notes are amazing. I'm so thankful, because I'd still have to do them, So it's like, thank God the notes are good. And
yes,
like, truthfully, it's like I'd still have to do these or fight. And so it's been really cool. And like, it feels like it's going to be in my wheelhouse, because I know the budget, it's like a modest 6 figures per. And I'm like, dude, we could crush these. I'll do these all day. And, maybe 2 years ago, I would have had a judgment. But these days, I'm just trying to look at everything like it's helping me find art for him.
Yeah.
And so I have learned already doing these, like, man, these guys expect you to break character so fast. And it's like, okay, all right. So how do I quickly drop into a specific point of view that people in this genre want to see? And so it's been a fun challenge. Yeah, it's been interesting, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
nice
super
that you get
cool
to
to
be
hear.
a part of a company that wants to elevate what so many people are watching, which is really cool.
Yeah. I have a friend who is in like one that I guess won like the Webby Award. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, this is great. Like, whoever made this did a
Yeah.
great job. So
And
it's
I think
there.
Real Short just did a horror one. They just released their first
Wow.
horror one. So I feel like we're going to start to expand into more genres
Yeah.
too. And nice to be on the forefront of something as it's growing versus like
That's
chasing
right.
the train after the train has already, like it's on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
bullet train.
I mean, agencies are starting to build apartments for this. And we'll see. It feels like being at the beginning of soap opera at the sort of beginning of the 70s or whatever those came around.
Yeah. But now they're on our phones.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
would love to talk about too, because congrats on your manager. I didn't
No, thank you.
didn't realize you But you've shared so many times, especially in Dracis, that you really have carved a career and carved yourself your own opportunities, like whether or not you have representation or not. And I would love, I don't know, if you have new perspective now working with a manager, or if that, like, how that relationship has gone, or you doing all of this, did that like lead to meeting someone you feel like you connect with better?
Yeah, great question. So I actually did meet her because of a film I had made that I directed and produced and wrote. So her client was the EP lead actor who hired me. And he wasn't her client when we worked together. He became her client after, and then he was sharing materials, and she saw it and was like, "Oh, like, I think I'm looking to produce film. Should we meet with Sean, see if it's like a fit for me to produce?" So that was how it started, was her to
Wow.
come on and kind of rep the film. And in
Yeah.
the meeting, I was just like, we're getting along like gangbusters, very aligned. And I said, "Hey, if you're looking for another actor, I'd like love to throw my hat in the ring." And I'd cleared it with my buddy, so he wasn't like, it's his manager. So I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure he felt blessed, to do it. And he was like, "Yeah, of course." And she was like, "Yeah, like, let's see." And she's been fucking amazing. Her name's Melissa Young. She's bi-coastal. And I think I've had like 28 auditions in 3 months.
Wow.
I'm logging them.
You're logging them.
So I can track the casting directors, not results oriented, but I feel really good in my auditions. I feel like I'm really bringing myself to them. And yeah, so that's been really good. And before that, I mean, I could go years without like a good I was like, man, the last theatrical audition I had was a year prior to my maybe 10 months, but it was through a relationship and it was so random. I remember I got text on a Friday night by an EP, a big one, but I hadn't talked to him in 3 years. That's how crazy this business is. Out of
Yeah.
nowhere, he's like, "Hey, I'd love to put you on tape for this $45 million horror film." I mean, man, the pay
Wow.
rate, the rate was great.
Yeah, you're like, yes.
But I remember thinking like, maybe I can use this audition to get more involved with these investors and learn. And so I
Yeah.
really prepped the audition, not that I never do, but I was like, I had an intention behind it, and I made myself competitive enough because it was a local hire in Connecticut, and they ended up going with somebody local. But he was like, "Dude, your tape was so good. I passed it around to everybody." He's like, "Thank you."
Wow.
Essentially, because like you want to
So
be a
nice
good
to hear.
yeah, thank God, right? It felt good. I felt like, okay, this is the best. This showcases my talent in its current position, and it's the most me.
Mm.
And because that's what I feel like the work is, writing or otherwise. It's like it's never done. Like I look at things I wrote 3 years ago, and I'm like, ooh, I can't believe I sent that to somebody, right? So it's like it's just where it's at. So that takes the pressure off it too, to be like, this is where I'm at, and so
Yeah.
that worked. But yeah, other than that, it was a lot of giving myself opportunities. Fortunately, I've had a great commercial agent for like 13 years, DPN. I booked a bunch with them. So that's helped. But yeah, I always was like falling short of getting great theatrical reps. I think honestly, I had some like back-to-back heartbreak on it when I was like 26, 27. I think the nail in the coffin probably was like I'd signed with this really good manager, brutal guy though. And maybe rightfully so, maybe I wasn't ready, but I just remember being like, Jesus. And he dropped me within 4 weeks because his biggest client lost her show. And he was just like, basically like, "Sorry, it's going to be so much work to get you up. I have to focus on my moneymaker. I'm sorry."
Wow.
And I totally got it, but
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck this business,
Yeah.
And constantly I was told, "You're too white, you're too this, you're too fat, you're too..." Like literally one of my first meetings, the guy was like, literally all those things. "You're too white, you're too fat, you're too old." I was 21, I just come out of rugby. I'm not kidding. But I knew what he was saying in the sense of like,
Yeah.
he basically was saying your competition as a young 20-year-old white guy is 40,000 people. And, that's how many actors were in my category at the time. So it wasn't the right way to say it, but I got the point across because I wasn't like 6-pack abs. That's what he was talking about. He's like, "You need to be like CW hot, dude." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." at the time, especially, right? We're thinking 2008. So yeah, a lot
And
of
you're
rolling
21
with
and
it.
impressionable and young
Yeah.
and like,
I
Yeah.
cried. I cried to my dad. I remember feeling so like defeated, and he was like, "Fuck that guy. Like, who cares what he thinks?"
Yes.
I was like, "Fair enough." Yeah. So those are how I procured a lot of my opportunities. Was constantly making things, and I'd get hired to be in a lot of other people's stuff that I knew.
yeah.
And
And
on
did that
occasion,
generally kind of come from because they had worked with you on stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
relationship.
exactly. It's all relationships. It's like
Yeah.
so crazy how much it's relationships. You still got
Yeah.
to deliver. One of the advanced teachers from the beginning story I told, his name is Mark Pellegrino. You guys can look him up. One of the workingest actors. I think he's like the first actor I've ever seen be a series regular in 2 shows at once. He was Jacob on Lost. If you remember that hit show for ABC, he
Yep.
played God. And then he played the devil on Supernatural at the same time. And truly one of the best actors I've ever seen in real life. And a
Wow.
great dude.
Wow.
And very bohemian, like I think lives in Paris and like fucking rad dude. Because he
Love
could
that.
definitely not teach right now, I'm sure, financially.
Yeah.
Mm.
But he was in Capote with Philip Seymour Hoffman. He played against him. He was one of the inmates, and like, toe to toe all day. They're so good together. He said in that class, he's like, "You could be the best actor in the world, but if you never leave your living room, who gives a shit?"
Yeah.
And so the whole
Yeah.
thing was
Yeah.
about like you have to expose yourself all the time,
Yeah.
and yeah, and that takes care of the networking if you're not an ass,
Yeah.
like you're gonna
Yeah.
it's a collaborative
Yeah.
process innately. Like you're gonna have to go be with people in some way, even if it's just the stage manager and you're doing a one-woman show. But so you get to learn. But yeah, I love the collaboration. I love like when someone has a better idea. It's so cool to be like, yes, dude, yes, right, and give someone their
Yeah.
Yeah.
flowers. Or like watch someone get to do their art.
Mhm.
To pay them for that is a great feeling too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it builds trust. I mean,
Mhm.
there's no greater compliment than getting to pay your friends or people that you
Truly.
enjoy
Yeah,
for what they love.
yeah. I try and pay people early too. I learned that when I was producing
Yes.
at or production coordinating at Lemonade Monkey for Microsoft, and man, those producers were fucking powerhouses. I mean, Brooke and Simon, they'd be doing 13 productions at once sometimes.
My brain
And
would
we're
spin.
talking
How
6 to 7 figure budgets, like big shit. And they were just cruising.
God.
And I just remember they treated their people well. They paid them early, they paid them often. If they could, they'd pay them extra because they know, like, oh, maybe the
Wow.
next one I can't. And I just never
Yeah.
forgot
Yeah.
that. And they did great. I mean, they're still like any T-Mobile commercial you see today is them. So
Love that.
they're still crushing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I feel
Yeah.
like we could talk to you all day, and we haven't even gotten into your series. We haven't gotten
Mhm.
into a ton of things. So we might just have to have you back at some time, especially when
Yeah.
your series is releasing, because you
Yeah.
kind of Mark Duplassed it, and would love to dive into that at some point. Kudos to you, though. Like, seriously. And you're so
Thanks.
inspiring. I don't know how you balance
Yeah.
it all. I feel better that you were burnt out after your first film, too.
Yeah,
It
definitely
took
burn
me a
out for
while.
sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm a lot better these days about honoring that and like prescribing rest. Like,
Yeah.
no, go to
Yeah.
the Korean spa. Put your fucking phone down, dude.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
mandatory because otherwise you will burn out. Like, I think Peter Dinklage said it well, I'm going to mischaracterize this story, but I think the point remains. He basically, in an interview, said he turned down a lot of work before he got famous, and people were like, why? Because he's so niche, to his
Mhm.
mind. And he was like, I would, like, literally in New York not have the heat on. I was so poor. And he was like, well, I just loved acting so much, and I already knew you could fall out of love with it. And
Wow.
so I never forgot that, like I think I had this idea that because I've loved it once, I'll love it forever, even if I don't take care of her. And so, I try to make sure it's respected and like also like have a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's a
Yeah, I'll
nice
come
way
back
to
anytime you want.
end. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about the whole
please,
series when
please,
it comes
please.
out. But for now,
Yeah.
tell us, where do you want people to find you, or maybe you don't want people to find you? That's okay too. What do you want them to watch?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's nothing. Oh man, I guess maybe they can go to my YouTube or my Instagram. I mean, check out any of the movies. Like, I'm proud of them. You know, they're all indie films. So if you're an indie filmmaker, I think there's stuff to learn, both what to do and not to do. And I'm pretty accessible. So if people have questions, they can just email me. I think my stuff's on IMDb. So
Sweet.
yeah,
Amazing.
We'll plug your
yeah.
links
Thank
in
you
your
so much for your
IMDb.
time.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.